guys? Welcome to another episode of the Summer and Cynthia Show. We are back at it, folks. How the heck are you? How are you, Cynthia?
I am quite well. We have had snow here in Chicago for the better part of the month, accompanied by zero-ish temperatures, which means that you're out walking. Actually, the mask is a good thing because all of a sudden, you don't have quite as much wind flapping at your face. It causes one's glasses to fog up, so then you take your glasses off because I would rather not walk with foggy glasses and slip on ice.
Yes. And we are experiencing a little bit of winter wonderland here in Texas. And yeah, we are not used to it. So may we be on our best behavior as we get through these cold days, but we are having a winter as well. Shout out to everybody experiencing a true winter right now,
Yeah.
not those coastal people.
Think twice about whether you really need to go to the store for the whatever. And also think twice too, if something can be delivered to you, really, do you want to put that delivery person? I mean, those are hard jobs. Those have been essential jobs that have carried us through COVID. You don't need that item that badly.
I agree. I agree. So with that, what are we talking about today?
Oh, well, we're talking about some of the essential workers. We're talking about the life that goes on while COVID is happening, while we are riveted to the TV for all sorts of dramas that have unfortunately stolen our attention away from some of this important life stuff that happens.
Yeah.
But we aren't distracted anymore. And more importantly, we've come to learn your situation, Summer, with regard to the fact that you have a family member who is elderly, your
Mhm.
aunt. You shared a couple episodes ago that she wasn't doing well with
Yep.
COVID in California. And when you were sharing it with us, California was on fire,
Correct.
on COVID fire, not their usual fire. So
Right.
kind of curious to know how that has unfolded, because we care.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I'm happy to report Aunt Chrissy is home now and has been for almost a week. She's on oxygen. Unclear if that's the rest of her life, but she's a strong 80-year-old. So she fought through to get home and keep on doing her thing. And so I am just grateful for the healthcare staff that's taking care of her. I'm grateful for her family, my family, but her
Mhm.
immediate family, adult kids and grandkids who've stepped up and just we're all making sure Christy's okay. But that has been hard in terms of when you think about the closeness. It's easy to disassociate yourself with this if you have not had someone close to you in your orbit go through anything, and then when it finally hit close to home, it's like whoa. And so it of course became a little more personable once my aunt was diagnosed with COVID and then some other complications that caused her to be in the hospital for so long. But we're on the up and up now, and again, my thoughts are always with those who may have not had the same circumstances.
Mhm.
In fact, I've learned of someone who has recently passed due to COVID, and so it's real. It's out there. And
Mhm.
then on top of that, I've had some health things going on with my mother-in-law. And shout out to Sue. She's another fighter who was home recuperating. And what was interesting with her is a couple of weeks ago, we discovered there was a mass in her ovaries. And she needed to have it examined through a biopsy. And then, of course, they were going to also perform surgery to get rid of it. But of course, we wanted to see what it was. And what ended up happening is we admitted her into the hospital. The initial plan was for her to spend a week of just going around the city, going to the doctor's appointments, getting an MRI, getting a biopsy, and all these things. And I guess
The way we used to do it before we had this
correct,
pall hanging over us.
correct. And so as we were going through the game plan of the week with the doctor in that conversation was like, you know what? Let's just admit you. We can do all the tests here and already be ready for whatever we have to do. But then, and so of course you're like, yes, that makes sense. But then it was a little bit of a waiting game because then we had to wait for a bed for her because we are in the world of COVID and hospitalizations are going up. And so it thankfully only took a day and a half, but we got her in. And so she's been home now almost a week as well, almost, and has a medical team coming in to check in on her. I just spoke to her yesterday. We'll call her later on today. And I share these stories not only one because I'm an open book, but also there was a little bit of just mental anguish on my end. Cynthia and I were talking about planning for the show and even recorded some shows, and I would just go through the motions and just, do what I need to do and get consumed with work and not think about things, right? That's what we do. We distract ourselves.
Mhm.
And it was finally the other day where we were talking and it just kind of hit me. I allowed myself to finally feel sad about what the hell was going on. And I share that to say too, it's okay in that moment to be mad, pissed, cry, whatever. And don't feel that you have to distract yourself from your feelings. And it's okay. Sometimes you're not the most creative, or you don't feel like doing the thing that you are required or want to do. You just need to stop and take a break. And that's what a lot of this has been for us. And I thank you, Cynthia, for not only being an ear, but also being patient and understanding with me, and just I appreciate that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm sharing what I have to say.
We all carry, I could say we all carry a load, but no, it's, some families have been more affected by others. And it was only natural for you to be carrying this extra concern. The fact that with your aunt in California, having undoubtedly taken precautions, and she was not out at, partying
Right.
with 75 people in a bar. I mean, I can appreciate the fact that it probably came as a surprise that to the family that she got it, and what that means for an 80-year-old in even relatively good health. The fact that
Sure.
she has battled through that is, and the resources that it took to help her get there, is nothing short of a gift. And then to have to sort of snap to and take care of your mother-in-law and help her through this time. Perhaps, obviously a different woman from a different family, living in a different state with different resources, but no less risky. No less
Yeah.
risky when you're told, no, rather than in and out of offices, we want you in the hospital. Well, right now, everybody would say, do I have to?
Yeah.
And that falls to you and your husband, because you're watching this and you're trying to manage expectations and mitigate risk and
Yeah.
plan for any number of different outcomes.
Yeah. And she lives a little bit of a distance from us, about an hour or so out. So it takes not coordination, but it's not as impromptu as, if she was 15, 20 minutes away. And, just making sure when she was discharged, immediately went grocery shopping and making sure she had what she had. And that's just, that's just what you do when you're caring for somebody. But you're right. You just kind of, everybody rallies up and does what needs to be done
Mhm.
to get through it together. So if you are also going through something similar or know of someone that's going through something similar, I'm thinking about you. And more importantly, it's important to take time to fuel your soul as well.
Yes.
Uh, yeah. Yeah.
We are living through times that, fortunately, there's a certain silver lining. I do find COVID silver linings. Things are
Yes.
moving slowly enough in most cases where you do have the opportunity to pause and sort of reflect on the monumental that is being asked of ourselves or our friends,
Hmm.
and appreciate the gifts and the blessings that we have before us, but also know that this experience is changing you. It's changing all of us in some way.
It
And
is.
maybe we're speaking a little bit more kindly, and we are being more patient, or we are recognizing that we all need to chip in order to make something happen.
I was gonna say
Um,
definitely for the better. I'm being changed for the better.
yeah, so it's I guess good news, at least for your aunt's perspective, and your mother-in-law continues to
They're
really
still here, so
regain their strength.
that is great news. They are
Yeah,
here. Yeah.
yeah. And they have undoubtedly given to to their families in so many ways that isn't that what they deserve? And it's taken a long time for us to put the healthcare of older women to be as
Mhm.
important as the healthcare of older men.
You are so right. Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And they don't ask for much help. Well, occasionally there's a few needy ones, and they will never let you forget their aches and pains, but God love them. So
Yeah,
I felt like we needed to continue to hear what's going on with you, and that it is very relatable.
it is. I think it's a perfect time to talk about some soul candy.
Why not? Soul candy.
Lift these spirits, you guys. And so candy is a new segment we've decided to end our episodes with, and they are just moments of joy that we want to share with you. And they are
Okay.
as random as the new hat I may have purchased yesterday.
It's eye candy, it's ear candy, it's feel candy, if it's that good lotion or a bath bomb.
Our candle you love.
That's
It is
smell
any
candy. That's smell candy. All right. So what's your sensory assault?
So Candy for this episode is going to be a television show that I just adore. And by now, everybody has heard of it. If not, shame on you. You need to pause and Google Schitt's Creek if you
Oh, sure,
not
sure, sure.
familiar. Love it, love it, love it. It's a show created by Dan Levy with his father, Eugene Levy. And it is just a wonderful show that you can watch on Netflix. It aired on a station or network called Pop back in 2015 and it ended last year. And I finally finished the series finale a couple of weeks ago because I don't like to let things go.
Mm-hmm.
And I rewatched the previous seasons obsessively, no less than 3 times, because it's just a great. They're short, you can get through it, and yes, that's my soul candy.
And it's acclaimed. I mean, it isn't just that you love it. It really has
Finally,
yeah, right. Like fine wine, it needed to age.
exactly. How
Well,
about
my soul candy dates back to 1988, which is not stale candy in my refrigerator, but rather the much acclaimed TV series China Beach, season
you?
1 on DVD. Because you know what? I believe that if you love something enough, you want to be able to see it whenever, and you don't want the streaming companies to control your access to what builds you and feeds
I
you.
love
This is
that.
it was a serious drama, and it's set in Vietnam, and it's the Vietnam War as seen through the eyes of a handful of women, mainly 2 women, as it turns out. Dana Delaney as Nurse Colleen McMurphy, and Marg Helgenberger as KC from KC. Uh,
Wow.
kind of part entrepreneur, part hooker, part wise woman. And along the way, you have Ricky Lake and you have Chloe Webb and all sorts of other people in the 5 seasons that
Ah,
this show aired, and it covers many ethical quandaries that arise through war, and even seen through mostly Colleen McMurphy as the nurse, who is sometimes a savior, who is sometimes a sister, and all that we expect from nurses and everybody in the medical profession. And she's a Catholic. And so they bring in her religious beliefs in a couple, more than a few of these episodes, where you get into life questions and ethical questions. And everybody's young because that was Vietnam at the time. And it's a gem, and I revisit it probably every 5 or 6 years, because it is 5 seasons long. It's going to take a while to get through. Absolutely encourage you. You can't find it anywhere because I'm guessing it doesn't stream because it's expensive, because there are so many music rights in each episode.
mm, Wow.
Yeah.
I definitely remember the show. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't watch it. Um, oh yeah, but I
Yeah.
remember the show.
And
Interesting.
yeah, and I love my sitcoms too, but there are very few dramas that have held up as well as this because it was already, I mean, it was created 20 years after the Vietnam War. So, hey, let's do a show about 2001. Well,
Yeah.
it makes you realize how little in a way our lives have changed since 2001. On the other hand, you watch My So-Called Life, which was about
Mhm.
2001-ish, give or take, or Sex in the City, and
Yeah.
nobody has their phones in their pockets, and everybody has longer attention spans.
That's
So
fun.
yeah,
Yeah,
there
that's
there are parts of life that have changed, but from Vietnam to 1988 was a huge step, and for TV to even have a series about war that wasn't
wow.
MASH.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very forward
Yeah.
thinking. Um,
Anyway, that's what's happening here in Chicago, where it's cold and the TV is good.
well, I would say that is pretty much what's happening here in Dallas and Texas, where it is cold and we don't know what the hell to do with ourselves. So we're going to stay safe. And if you have any soul candies you like to share,
What are you
uh,
watching? What are you watching? Let
oh,
us know.
what are you dancing to? Tell us.
Right. What's in your refrigerator? What's that new recipe you tried that you're actually willing to share? Send us an email, leave us a note in the comments. We're here for you.
Yeah, we
All right.
are. Thank you so much for watching. We're sending peace and love to you. Thank you. Peace.